Hello, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to go through how to troubleshoot and optimize common issues that occur with managing a Google Ads account. So this account is for bookware. It's popped up in previous videos, and sort of recently took it over a few weeks ago and sort of helping the business owner get things set up a little bit better and just look at ways to improve what's going on. You can see this account hasn't really generated too much activity over the last 30 days. And I think it'll be a good case study because there are a lot of issues with this account, and they're very common issues that you'll probably run into if you manage more than just your own Google Ads account. So we're going to jump into some of this stuff today here in this video. So let's get into it. At the general overview here, again, not a lot of activity going on. Click-through rate does not look to be too hot. If we want to delve into the first campaign, again, we just have the one campaign going. It's using an enhanced CPC bidding strategy. Again, just a little over a 2% click-through rate. Average CPC is a little over $2. And we're not seeing any conversion data coming through. So that's kind of the biggest red flag you want to be aware of is, um, how are we measuring conversions and how are we defining, the overall goals of this account. Um, there you can see the actual conversions column marked 0 across all these ad groups. Again, we haven't had a ton of clicks coming through in the past 30 days, just 30 or over 100. So it's not too surprising that we haven't seen a conversion, but again, you definitely like step one would be to see, if conversion tracking is set up properly. So pop on over to measurement and conversions, and you will remember this from the initial videos on how to set up just a simple button click element conversion tracking sort of mechanism through Google Tag Manager. I did that same exact thing for the landing page that we're using for this campaign. So refer to that video if you want to see how that's done. It's pretty simple. It seems complicated, but Google Tag Manager makes it fairly easy to do. It's just some few steps and just having the right access. But unfortunately, with this landing page, which I'll just take you there right now, not the greatest of landing pages, but this contact form, when users do submit their information, it does not take them to a unique URL like sent or submission confirmed, thank you, that type of stuff. It just keeps users on the same page. So we had to use that same button click system to measure the conversion, which will work just fine. A good alternative is to use that dedicated URL that confirms a user has submit their contact information. I think that's actually a little bit easier to set up than the button click. So whatever works for you, just make sure to have your main point of conversion on the site being tracked properly with Google Ads. And again, using Google Tag Manager for that is makes it a little easier sometimes. So we have that set up for the landing page. Even though it says no recent conversions, it is properly installed. So if you do see that message, don't freak out. You'll get another message, I believe, that will tell you that it's not properly installed. So that's kind of step one. Assess your goals and the conversion tracking setup and make sure that's set up properly. Okay, so that's that. The next step, let's dive into that campaign and kind of see what's going on. Again, we have the 4 ad groups. This top ad group is targeting branded keywords around this conference, NACAC 2018. It's sort of a college fair here, as you can see. It's more or less an expo that a lot of college recruiters and university admissions professionals, those types of people, will all go to and get the latest, information or strategies, or even like bookware. They actually go to this expo to promote what they offer. So we're trying to increase the web visibility for bookware around some of these terms, just to kind of promote their presence there. So the overall approach in itself is a little unique. It's not like we're trying to sell something. We probably won't see a very strong conversion rate from this ad group just because these types of users probably aren't going to convert. It's more of a brand awareness play more than anything else. So that's kind of the nature of this ad group. So in terms of improving its performance, as you can see, we're seeing a lot of quality score messages here that we got 1 out of 10 for this one, 2 out of 10. Before we actually dive into what quality score means, I think it's important to point out just the way this is set up. So this campaign here, it's got those ad groups for a little bit more general theme stuff around their college recruiting giveaways or college fair giveaways. That's the keywords in these ad groups. But this, because it's not only time sensitive, it's going to require a different bidding strategy, and just the overall nature of this ad group is kind of unique. So I personally would set this up in a dedicated campaign. That way we can take more control over things like our bidding strategy and um, setting a schedule for it, so we don't have to manually pause it when the time comes. And I'm not going to go through that entire process in this video, but I'm just going to show you why we'd want to do that. First off, is the bidding strategy we're using. If we go to settings, which again, if we're in the ad group level and we try to adjust the bidding type strategy, it's only going to allow us to adjust the max CPC if we're using enhanced CPC or manual. So keep that in mind. Your bidding strategy type is going to be on the campaign level only. So if we head over there and we're using this enhanced CPC, which again doesn't really make sense for that particular ad group. In this case, because it's more of a brand awareness play, we could do maximize clicks or target search page location, which is the one I think will apply best here. And of course, using that or maximize clicks is going to compromise our control over how much we're spending per click. But because this conference is coming up in just a couple weeks, and sort of the main priority for this business is to maximize its exposure and visibility around any searches around this conference, we're going to use target search page location and sort of let Google help us with this a little bit more automated strategy. So you have to now write a name for your strategies. In this case, we'll just call it aggressive recruitment 1. And just below that, you'll see the start and the end date, having that ad group, the NACAC 2018, in its own campaign. We'll be able to adjust that too. So another benefit, I think everything else with like locations, we can now, I think we could bid on the ad group level with that, or excuse me, let's actually just find out, because I have to know now. Settings. Okay, so that's not an option. So if we wanted to target like a specific location, say like a 15-mile radius from Salt Lake City where the conference is going on, again, that's another benefit to having a dedicated campaign for that theme. Let's head back to that ad group, keyword level, and sort of dive into the metrics here and quality score issues going on. So the bidding types here, match types, are all pretty good. They use phrase match pretty solid, and exact match, it's modified broad. But again, the quality score is pretty awful. The average ad position is actually fairly high, as well as the click-through rate's not too bad either on a lot of these. So that tells me that the reason the quality score is low is probably due to issues with the landing page. Again, we seem to be bidding fairly high enough for some of these. I mean, these are a little low. This the estimated top page bid here is 433, and we're only at 350. So despite seeing an average position of 1, we probably should be bidding a little higher for that keyword. So that's going to be nice that we had that new bidding strategy set in place, so we will appear in that top ad placement. But for the time being, I'm going to increase this to something like 475. So I want to be slightly over that top of page bid estimate. And same thing with this one. We'll probably bump that up to something like 390. We could even boost that up, because right now we're not necessarily under much of a strict budget, especially with this campaign. Again, I'm probably going to peel this ad group into its own campaign, so a lot of these little adjustments are just for example's sake. But just to give you a taste of like what I would do if this wasn't its own campaign. But beyond just adjusting bids to ensure higher ad placement, we really need to get to the bottom of why we have such a low quality score. So there are a lot of variables that impact quality score, and in turn, that can influence ad rank, kind of go hand in hand. So the first and kind of more ambiguous variable is the historic performance of your ad group or your campaign. So that you don't really have much actionable insights to that, but it's considered a variable. The other one, sort of the major one, is click-through rate. So if you have a really poor click-through rate, that's going to diminish your quality score. In this case, that doesn't seem to be too big of an issue, because we have a 6% click-through rate, and this keyword still has a 1 out of 10. So that doesn't seem to be the issue here, even though it is a common issue that can be addressed with more precise bidding, using the exact match, and some of the more precise bidding strategies here will help you achieve a higher click-through rate and sometimes a lower cost per click. The other variables that impact quality score would involve, how relevant are your keywords as they pertain to the ad group. So in this case, we have an ad group that's really targeted to NACAC 2018, and that's pretty much all the keywords that we have in this ad group are specific to this NACAC conference. So that doesn't seem to be too big of an issue. I don't really see a need to create dedicated ad groups for NACAC conference, NACAC 2018. I feel like that what we have here is fine. That doesn't seem to be the issue. The only other two variables would be the ad copy relevance and the landing page relevance and quality. So let's head over to the ads. See, we are not currently using the new expanded text ad feature of the third headline and second description line. So that's an easy update or improvement. But the ads themselves, they are very relevant to this conference. And the click-through rate isn't horrible either. So ad relevance doesn't seem to be too big of the issue. I'm kind of automatically thinking it's the landing page, because we're still using the same landing page as the other ad groups, just around the general college recruiting theme. The only thing we really mention about the conference is right here. Just see bookware at NACAC Salt Lake City. So in order for this ad group to really get flipped around and start performing much better, I feel like we need to create a dedicated, in addition to a dedicated campaign with Google Ads, we need to create a better landing page experience that is specific to the conference. It can maybe have examples of bookware that are more specific to universities that may be attending there. I don't know exactly what we're going to do with that, but I think the landing page is probably the biggest issue right now. I foresee this having just a little high of a bounce rate. Maybe the time on site is pretty low. So overall engagement is probably fairly dismal here. So that's probably the biggest issue, why the quality score is low for this ad group. We can see that this ad is actually being favored over these two, even though it has a lesser click-through rate than this one. So the ad rotation under this campaign settings is probably not to rotate indefinitely or evenly. So that could be adjusted. We want to make sure we get these ads updated and ideally to a better landing page, but also have them rotate evenly so we can properly split test this ad group. This is an example of how not having that setting to rotate ads evenly will sort of disrupt how you want them to actually go. You want these to be distributed evenly so you can make an educated split test. We haven't actually accumulated enough data here, only so many impressions and just over 30 clicks for these, so we don't really have enough data to say like this ad's the winner, but just an example, that's an issue that we can address pretty simply. If we hop out of the NACAC ad group and let's go to the college recruiting ad group. So using that modified broad, again, just not quite bidding high enough. We're just right on the edge. This one in particular, we're way off. So this may be something we don't even want to go toward because it's recruit university students. It's not speaking to a giveaway, so to speak, or an actual object. So this might just be kind of out of our league. In fact, I think I'll just pause that for now. Even though we are getting some clicks, I just want to come back and assess that before we let it go. So one thing I like to use when sort of looking at keywords that might be sort of on the cusp, and by using certain bidding types like the top of page bid or the enhanced CPC, if we're getting some conversions coming through, it will help us sort of automate those goals or make sure we want to be where we want to be above the organic results. But to go where I was planning to show you is under tools. You can use this tool right under the keyword planner. It's called the ad preview and diagnosis tool. And instead of searching Google under your own name or opening up an incognito window, this tool allows you to see what the search results look like on mobile device or in specific areas. So if doing some local PPC makes sense, you can see where your ads are showing up in certain cities that you might be targeting. In this case, I want to see if we're showing up for our main keyword, which is right there, college recruiting giveaways. So our ad is not showing, and as I predicted, this common scenario of low ad rank, which again is sort of contingent on our bid, which again is on the cusp of being in the top ad placement, but also due to low quality score. So it could all just come full circle to making improvements to the landing page, but we could also be bidding a little higher for keywords in this ad group. And there you can see what the search results do look like for that keyword search in mobile if you want to switch to desktop. And again, it's not showing any ads, so maybe this type of keyword we just really have to be bidding higher, and maybe we do want to use that that search page location in the bidding strategy type under settings, just to ensure that our ads are showing up there, because between this ad group and the conference and I guess most of these other ad groups, the core focus is really just generating some quality traffic to the site, and with our ads below organic search results, we're not getting there even with some of these more precise bidding types. So I'm going to click back into that ad group and show you some other features too that can help improve quality score, and that's doing some negative keyword research. So you can do that by using the keyword planner tool and just searching keywords related to these themes and finding those that you don't want. But you can also look at search terms, and you can see the search queries that users have submitted in Google that have caused your ads to trigger, and whether or not they actually engage with your ads. You can see like college recruiting giveaways is the most popular here with 53 impressions and 2 clicks. But you can see these variations that are search queries that cause our added trigger based on broad match, how to recruit college students for jobs. So that one may not be fully relevant to what we're trying to offer. Here's another one, recruiting college students for entry-level positions. Yeah, so this seems to be like a common thing where these aren't necessarily the customers for Bookware. This is probably like an internal department of the university that's just looking to recruit a handful of students, and they're probably looking for just like ideas and strategies. Even though we are targeting strategy-based keywords, here you can see that one's being bid on an exact match. That's what that added means. But as for the jobs and the entry-level positions, these I'd probably want to add as negatives, even PDF. So what I do in this situation is I'll either copy and paste the part of the keyword that I don't want showing. And I'll just add them to my old reliable EditPad Pro. We'll do jobs. I'll show you a couple ways you can do this. So jobs, positions. I think that's fine for now, but you see what I mean. You can kind of dive in and see which variations aren't particularly relevant. A lot of long tails in here. So you can kind of delve deep and figure out, sample recruiting emails. Yeah, so that long tail isn't really relevant. So what you can do is, I make these notes so I can later copy and paste that into the negative keyword list. But a alternative is to actually select these. So sample recruiting emails to send to students. No, let's just hit some of those other ones that were pretty obvious. That was the PDF one, the entry-level position one, and the jobs one. So we can add as a negative. The only thing about this is, oh, it actually did it in exact match form for me that time, so that's cool. Sometimes it'll just do it in broad, which you kind of want to specify these long tails in exact match as negatives. That or just have the one word emails, which is a universal negative that could apply to that ad group. So we could do that. We could just save those, and they'll be excluded. That one showed 13 impressions the last 3 days, so that's not going to happen again. It's just one way to continually refine who we're targeting. So that's a quick search terms overview on how that works and how that can help optimize your keyword targeting efforts. Again, if we wanted to just add those other one-offs here in the negative keyword list, that's another way to do it. You can see some other like stats, statistics. So it looks like we have some negatives in here, but it looked like we could probably dive pretty deep into the search terms report and see what we can pinpoint. And if your campaigns have been running for a while, back up the date range quite a bit, and that way you can get more information. So keep that in mind. The date range is relevant in this case. We just got started in August, so not a whole lot of data to pull from, but I think you get the picture. So that was search terms, a valuable tool to use, especially in terms of using modified broad or any sort of broad match bidding. It's critical to use search terms when fine-tuning your Google Ads accounts. Let's see, I think that pretty much covers the content for this video. We talked about the ad preview and diagnosis tool, which is handy. Making sure conversion tracking is properly set up. Your settings, obviously, if you pop in here and you notice under the campaign setting that they're using the display network, that's an obvious no-no, so you can check that off. That alone can probably save tons of money and probably see way better performance. Google lately has been really playing with this goal thing. In fact, just yesterday, from when this video is taken. They ask you first what your goals are, instead of jumping you right into the type of campaign you want to build. So again, just good reinforcement to start thinking about like what the primary goals are. In most cases, it's going to be pretty obvious, fill out the contact form or something, buy a product. So not rocket science by any means, but that's our video today on doing some troubleshooting and optimizing, especially around quality score. So I hope you got some good insights. You guys, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.